If I sound any different, that's because I'm recording on someone else's PC to record this, but anyway, just deal with it for a minute because I want to talk about this. You've likely seen the news regarding the new Fallout game being handed to Obsidian Entertainment, along with Bethesda announcing remasters of Fallout 3 in New Vegas. If I'm the first one to tell you that, then welcome out of whatever the fuck rock you've been under, but regardless of whether you knew that or not, it goes a lot deeper than a lot of people are making it out to be, so let's get into it. See, a lot of people are either popping champagne or doom posting about this news, thinking that either Fallout has been saved forever or that it's Jover because it's being handed over to Obsidian Entertainment, modern Obsidian Entertainment. At the same time, a lot of people, clearly not learning their lesson or having the ability for pattern recognition, I'll get to that, are celebrating the fact that Fallout 3 and New Vegas are being remastered, while others are basically assuming it's going to be like the Oblivion remaster. You know, the Oblivion remaster that ended up being an artistic downgrade with all of the soul sucked out of it. Good game anyway, but you get the point. However, there is so much more to it you wouldn't believe, so let's start with the new Obsidian Fallout bit. There are some people who seem to think that the new Fallout game by Obsidian Entertainment is going to be a New Vegas 2, and if you think that, then you're a bit insane, because not only is New Vegas partially beloved because of its open-ended nature, you know, where some things don't get outright confirmed, which is part of the reason why New Vegas has stuck around for so long, because people are still debating what the true ending is to this day, or what an alternative world in New Vegas would look like, following certain endings. But the task of making a New Vegas 2 game that isn't too controversial due to the possibility that it may confirm way more things than it should isn't exactly something that modern Obsidian Entertainment is ready for, but again, I'm not there yet. And besides, the world of Fallout is, to put it mildly, fucking massive, so there is absolutely no point to making another game set specifically in the New Vegas area or the Mojave area, because, contrary to what Bethesda would like you to think, there's actually a giant continent full of locations that can be explored. But I digress. As the new Fallout game made by Obsidian Entertainment was announced, or rather, the news that they would be working on a new Fallout game got announced, there was also an announcement saying that many Fallout OGs, Chris Avellone excluded, because you just can't bring in the people with talent, can ya? But we got the news that a lot of Fallout OGs started showing back up, that a lot of Fallout OGs would be involved in the development of the new Fallout game in Obsidian Entertainment, such as Tim Kaine and John Gonzalez. And while this is cause for some cautious optimism, the reaction that I saw from a lot of people was legitimately concerning, because it's been fucking decades and a lot of people simply seem to not have learned their fucking lesson. Why do I say that? Because a lot of people started popping champagne and saying that it was basically confirmed that the new Fallout game was going to be peak and that they were already hyping it up before the first fucking bit of code was even written. In fact, when I started talking about this on Twitter, a lot of people came to me and started talking shit when I said that there would be reason for cautious optimism, but that Bethesda was fucked and that there was no fucking reason to be hyped already. And, much to my dismay, after decades of psyoping and people being tricked by the usual talking point of from the makers of developers that gave you a good game decades ago, people legitimately came to me and started saying that because Tim Kaine and John Gonzalez were involved, and that because it was Obsidian Entertainment, of course it was gonna be a good game. Because of fucking course, if a certain logo is associated with a product, then that means it's gonna be good, right? Never mind the fact that it's been decades since a lot of these people actually made something that was worthwhile, or at least worth the price. No, if a certain logo is associated with it, or someone who only made something good the last time Jesus walked on Earth is associated with it, and nothing since then is involved in it, then you should already be excited and be ready to fork out all of your life savings for this product before anything is even made. Because that's a mindset that's never screwed anyone over in the past. Like, yeah, cool story, we're gonna get some of the OGs involved, so it's gonna be peak, of course. Like, yeah, dude, that's just the world's most fucking solid argument. From the makers of GTA San Andreas and GTA 5, we got fucking Mind's Eye. From the makers of classic Sonic, we got Balan Wonderworld. And of course, from the makers of Fallout New Vegas, we got the Outer Worlds. The same fucking Outer Worlds made by Obsidian Entertainment. The same Obsidian Entertainment that made Avowed. You know, Obsidian Entertainment, the guys that made Avowed, and instead of actually trying to make something decent for once, were on their way to make Avowed 2 before they were forced to stop. Like, Christ almighty, dude, what the fuck? How has this lesson not been learned yet? Like, goddammit, Epstein was right, you people are cattle, seriously. Now, let me clarify something. Am I saying that the new Obsidian game is gonna be bad? No, I'm not. What I'm saying is that your thumb should be on an analog stick on the controller instead of up your ass. Because part of the the reason we even reached this point is because some people simply would not learn their lesson and would decide that they were going to buy something before they saw it, or at least try to notice a pattern, instead of covering their faces even more than the average Middle Eastern woman and simply forking out money to the big corporation. I'm not trying to spoil your excitement or anything like that. I'm just trying to tell people to be cautious, and for some reason, I'm the bad one for trying to get people to be cautious and not waste their money because I'm fucking crazy like that, right? Like, golly fucking gee, dude, how dare us evil New Vegas elitists and purists point out the very obvious thing and try to promote basic caution and pointing out the very strategy that companies abuse to make money out of unsuspecting people. The point I'm trying to get at here is that Obsidian Entertainment, even if they make a good Fallout game, is not going to be your savior. After all, it's better to be safe than sorry and not fall into blind hype and simply wait a little bit to see if the purchase is actually worth it. I don't doubt that even modern Obsidian Entertainment can do something better than Bethesda, because for one, that's not exactly difficult, but I also don't doubt it because Bethesda, and here's a little white pill for you for once, Bethesda is absolutely fucked. And I say that because not only did they chimp out the second they got told to work for once, but following the layoffs, they started calling back to things that people loved decades ago and mysteriously almost nothing that was recent, along with announcing so many things back to back, such as the aforementioned Fallout 3 and New Vegas remasters, that it's difficult not to suspect that they're actively panicking or that they're not going to simply give it to another developer to make, kind of like they did with the Oblivion remaster. And with the Oblivion remaster, we all know how that went. So if you're hyped for the remasters of 3 and New Vegas, oh, you haven't learned your lesson, have you? Oh, but that wasn't the funniest part. No, seeing Bethesda actively panic and pretending they're not panicking wasn't the funniest part. Seeing Bethesda pretend that they were actively developing all these things behind the scenes wasn't the funniest part. The funniest part of all this also wasn't seeing people with communist hammer and sickle tattoos protesting after they got fired. No, that wasn't the funniest part. No, the funniest part was seeing Todd Howard himself get off his ass for once, then go on Reddit of all fucking things and pretend that he actually gives a shit about feedback and inviting people to do so. Like, if you needed any further confirmation that Bethesda's in full panic mode, Todd Howard, the guy that everyone memes on for being a massive liar, went to Reddit to pretend that he actually cares what people want. I guess that he got surprised that making people wait 15 years along with reselling Fallout 4 assets to sell on the Fallout 76 Atom shop didn't work for literally forever. But I have to say, it's absolutely hilarious to see it regardless. So now you might be wondering, what's the takeaway from all this? What is it that we should conclude from all this? Well, it's 3 things. The first thing is that Bethesda is so fucked they are going to try to rush out remasters by hiring some other companies, and they're going to bank on your hype and your nostalgia to sell you Fallout versions of the Oblivion remaster. The second thing is that Obsidian Entertainment is not your savior, and despite the fact that there is cause for cautious optimism, that you shouldn't consider it to be a done deal and a reason for you to get hyped. Because, after all, it's still modern Obsidian Entertainment, which, despite the fact that they brought back 16 people from the OG crew, this is, after all, still the modern Obsidian Entertainment that made the Outer Worlds 2, Avowed, and was on their way to make Avowed 2 of all things. And the third thing that you should take away from this is that the people who are blindly hyping the new Fallout game and trying to downplay people who are trying to urge for cautious optimism are the very fucking parasites that have made gaming the piece of shit that it is today. They are the very parasites, they are the very whales that big companies rely on in order to screw everybody over. They are the very same lobotomites that shut down conversations that need to be had and then get surprised when the things they buy are absolute pieces of shit, only to then repeat it and keep feeding the pockets of the big corporations that don't give a fuck about the consumer in the first place. They are, after all, the very people that have made us have to rely on an Indian that got hired following terrible bad practices by Xbox for years to get a mere sliver of hope that we might get a good game for once instead of being ripped off for more generations to come. They are the very people that fed the worst aspects of the gaming industry and allowed them to grow, and regardless of whether they prefer Bethesda or Obsidian, they are parasites regardless that should not be taken seriously. And if you're one such person, then do me a favor and fuck off, preferably by leaving the internet and trying to play video games on a pointless, energyless brick. That's a PS5 reference. I'll see you all soon, and we'll make up for the lack of member shoutouts when I return. Your names have been registered, don't worry. Anyway, bye-bye.